I should wonder that tonight you'd be waiting. Would your arms be filled with love so tender? Would your arms be empty, dear? Would you thrill to find me near? Would you love me if I wandered back tonight?
Here we are at Anthony Kost's lovely home. Anthony, of course, is a builder. Will you build instruments?
Well, I'm still just dabbling in that, really.
You restore them.
I like to restore them, try to play them. Yeah.
He collects, he restores, he plays them beautifully. Nice guy. So we're going to learn a little more about Anthony, how he got into collecting these great instruments, and
All right.
check out some of his units.
Excellent. All right. Where should we start, Kelly?
Well, how did you get started collecting instruments?
I guess I would sort of blame it on two people in my life. Daryl Perry, who, when I got to know him, Daryl's a master builder. I have one of his guitars back here, Monster Dreadnought, and my Perry banjo is kind of hiding behind me over here. So that was when I was probably like in second year university. I got started actually fascinated with fixing and building and whatever. So I worked with Daryl for 3 years. I apprenticed with him, fixing all kinds of low-end junk that he didn't want to work on. So that's how I came to understand frets, jobs, bridges, nuts, saddles, all of that stuff. And then fast forward probably almost 10 years when I met Lloyd LaPlante in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And Lloyd he's got such a Cadillac collection, it's amazing. I talked to him this year. In fact, he told me he has over 50 Gibson mandolins in his collection right now.
Wow.
50 Gibson mandolins, that's insane.
Now, a number of folks around here know of Lloyd.
Mm-hmm.
Where is he living now?
He is still in Grand Rapids. Did I say it's in Minnesota? I mean, you said Michigan, but yeah.
Okay, so because there's a few people in mobs who bought instruments from Lloyd.
For sure.
Actually.
Yeah. I've had the pleasure of buying and selling from him, so we've horse traded a couple of times. It's good. So yeah, we went down with my dad to buy a fiddle because Lloyd's main thing is actually buying and selling fiddles. He just happens to have an awesome guitar and mandolin and banjo collection. So I couldn't believe it, and he got me started with things like, different vintage guitar publications and whatnot, and that just made me go, holy cow, I think vintage guitars are suddenly the coolest thing on the planet. And and I was really taken with the worth of his collection and the value of some pieces. So I got started probably the same way a lot of people do, is just buying low-end stuff, sometimes at yard sales, and because I like to practice fixing them, I would buy beat-up things.
Yeah, there's low risk, and you could see what you could get out of it.
Exactly. And then you start trolling eBay and Kijiji and everything else, usually for half-busted stuff. So it probably, I think without exception, everything in my collection, minus my banjos, was something that was needing a lot of work. And then I'm bringing back around.
So you've got mostly guitars there.
Mm-hmm.
Have you done much work on other kinds of instruments? It just happens to be guitars right now, or I know at one time you had kind of unusual harp guitar or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in fact, that one's still in my house. I don't own it. So maybe when you saw it, it belonged to another pal of mine. I've owned a double neck guitar, which was pretty wild, and there was a period where I thought harp guitars were fantastic. But the criteria of most of my collection, including my sort of lower end guitars, they're mostly from the 20s back there, is all solid wood, solid spruce top, mahogany, oak, rosewood. There's one that's koa back there, so they have to have that, and some kind of nice real inlay. So no spray painting, no decals. That's sort of the criteria back there. So I'll work on an upright bass and a little bit of fiddles if I need to, but it's guitars and banjos is what I know best. Yeah.
Well, let's see some of the instruments you have. What do you have right now?
All right. Well, this is one that I just strung up last night, and if you want to, I can show you pictures later that you could cut in of what this looked like. This is a 1928 Martin single 018.
Hold it up just a hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So yeah, this is a Martin that I bought from a traditional auction house in Dallas, and it was a basket case. It had no bridge. It needed a neck set. The frets were awful. So that's what I did. I had to take it apart, do the neck set. I made this bridge just this weekend out of a raw hunk of ebony and calculate where the saddle goes and sand and polish it up and all of that stuff. And it's nice. It's got the original tuners. There's no issues on the back and sides. It beat up, but It's from 1928.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
What does it sound like?
It sounds fantastic. I think it'll give the best dreadnought a run for the money. This was my first setup too, so the action's got to come down a little bit, and there's one buzz somewhere, but yeah, I think this is a killer guitar, and it responds so well to finger picking too. So this one I bought because I thought, price is right, I should be able to fix it and sell it, and yeah, Sean might argue sometimes I have a hard time on the selling front, so we'll see. This one will probably stay around for a while. This one I've owned for maybe 3 years. It was made by this company called Farland. This guy Farland was a actual banjo player, so you can buy old 78s and those cylinder type things of him playing like the minstrel style. And I think this is the prettiest banjo headstock ever. The inlay that's on there, if you check out the back, that fleur-de-lis that's there. The other thing that I love about it is this carving. Most banjos have heel carvings that go in, but this one, the neck was carved like around this, so
that's impressive.
Sticks out. This is the only model that does that. So the thing that's most special to me about this banjo is it's the one that John Hartford played on a model like this, not the one. I got to play the one, and I can show you a picture of that later. So the exact same model that he recorded aerial playing in a bunch of the records. I'm a huge John Hartford fan. So that banjo belongs to George Gruen right now, and I had the pleasure of going upstairs and holding it and playing it. And when I saw it, I just went, damn, it's so cool that Hartford played this. And you could see old spit and beer marks and whatever on the banjo, which was fantastic. And then I found one, and I was like, yeah, okay, I have to have one of these banjos because it's so pretty. So I'm pretty happy to have this one. Oops. It's got friction pegs. So they're actually gold plated, and I don't know if you can see the buttons, but they're solid mother of pearl. So like from a really thick hunk of seashell, those buttons were carved out of. So those buttons, one each, it's like $50 if you need to replace one. Anyway, here we go. Little steam-powered aeroplane with no picks, so it doesn't sound quite the same. But anyway, Hartford liked this one because it had a 12-inch pot, which is unusual, and it's just a wood rim. There's no metal, not even a rod in there. It's a beveled edge inside there.
It sounds really acoustic and warm.
Yeah, the heads, you know how they change with humidity. Since it's warm and humid here, it's pretty loose. But so that's one.
Now you got a cool Art Deco Gibson there. Learn a little bit about that.
Yeah, this one I'm also feel pretty privileged to own. I've owned this one maybe for about 3 years. It's a 1939. It's called a RB11, and it's an original 5-string, which makes it especially rare. There wasn't too many original 5-strings, so it's got the original Gibson serial number back here, and this crazy mother of toilet seat resonator.
Now this banjo doesn't have a tone ring in it.
That's right. Yep, no tone ring, just on this rolled brass hoop here, so a full thickness rim. And it was in the period sort of post-Depression, war years, so metal was scarce. And I've read that Gibson had this idea that they wanted to sort of dress them up and make their lower end line a little more appealing and flashier. So that's this. I've heard from Robin Smith, who helped me do some work on this, that it was Italian, this plastic, that they used to buy it in like big blocks like that and then slice it up and whatnot.
You know, there's an interesting story in the Earl Scruggs book, the latest edition, about this particular model of banjo. It's the Earl Scruggs used to play one of these, one
Mhm.
of his first sort of professional banjos, and they were on stage somewhere in the middle. A huge rainstorm hit,
Right.
and the thing came completely unglued. It literally fell apart on stage.
I've heard that story really on stage,
Yeah.
eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I guess the fingerboard things let go, or who knows.
So he specifically mentions the blue color.
Yeah.
The banjo mentioned. They had one of those RB11s. It was one of those blue ones.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah.
that's the kind.
Yeah. And so it's got an original Rogers calfskin head, and because it doesn't have a tone ring, it's a little mellow sounding. But they made them both ways, where this rolled rim would sit here like an arch top, or out on the edge, so it looked like a flat top. And I'm glad I have this one because I think it makes for a kind of a snappier tone.
They're nice to play because they're lightweight.
They're great. Yeah, it's like 3 pounds lighter, and
Shoulder now.
that makes a huge difference. Yeah. It also has these rare buttons, another kind of funny man-made material. I think they call them Caitlin. If you look in Jim Mills' Master Tone book, there's a number of his original pre-war flatheads
Right.
that have these tuners.
It's got that kind of amber
Yeah,
flavor to it.
yeah. I'm told that just the set of these for the buttons is worth about $1,000.
So
Crazy.
now we know Anthony is a fan of Tony Trischka.
That's right. You had good ear, Kelly. You were there.
And
Right on.
Stealing some cool licks there.
Yeah.
Very nice play.
Thank you. So
And
that's my 11.
your
Oh,
11.
here's the other just short story on this one too. This banjo, and you can read about this in the Jim Mills book as well. There was Gibson had a relationship with a dealer in South Africa in Cape Town, and there's a sticker. I won't bother taking the resonator off, but you can see the sticker of the music shop that sold it in Africa. And to me, that's just mind blowing that in 1939, what kind of production facilities, shipping, and logistics were involved to get something out of Kalamazoo down the river somewhere and then get it on a boat in a crate and cross the ocean and get all the way down to Cape Town and then get sold there. And what the Mills book says is there was a bunch of folks from Ireland and England, and going down to South Africa was sort of like their playground, and they played a lot of Celtic stuff. So a lot of the banjos that were sold there, including some of the high-end pre-war, flathead 5-strings, were never played as a bluegrass banjo. In fact, the Mills book says he bought a couple out of there from her original owner, never had even the 5th string on it. They didn't bother. Just flat pick and like a plectrum or whatever.
Like Plectrum Band.
Yeah. So this one was sold out of that shop in Africa, and then it was found by somebody and brought back here. So it's quite the trip.
Well, it's interesting considering the history of the banjo and its early origins in on the African continent. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
a long way from South Africa, but still, it's kind of cool.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. Very, very neat.
But